Hello. Okay, going to get started. It's I'm a little bit late today. Let me send out a tweet real quick, and Twitter. Let's see what we can do today. I got some stuff that I've been making some steady progress. I actually got Android working last night for Pixel Vision, and I'm trying to get it to the point to where I can fix the build script stuff, which I was working on a little bit this morning. What is that squeaking noise? I have my window open. It is hot outside. Twitch. All right, so I'm just writing a quick tweet and then we'll get started. So I'm working on some custom MS build targets. We'll get started in 1 second. Almost there. So anyway, I made some good progress. We're gonna go through. We're gonna take a look and see. I gotta fix some of these collision problems, these user problems that I'm having. Starting my Twitch game dev stream a little late this morning. Working on custom MS build targets today. Trying to get a better understanding how to automate my projects. Watch live. Okay, yay! The most exciting stuff. I was sort of like this stuff isn't much fun to watch. It's one of those like off weeks where it's a lot better to watch me build a game than it is to watch me build all of the automation stuff that goes with it. Just want to make sure that the audio is working. Hold on, I should have tested that out. This is a sort of half-ass stream today. All right, there we go. So that is working. All right, and Twitch is live, and there I am again. All right, so it's funny. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't say that I really like it per se, but there's a lot of things that I focus on. One of them is build script automation, and it's like a really important thing. It's usually sort of taken for granted, and there's nothing like really like interesting about doing build scripts. But let's see here, Visual Studio. They're really important, and they actually represent, like, in order for me to automate a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, especially when I'm building something that like runs on multiple platforms and needs to be compiled and built a certain way, especially when there's a lot of resource files. Build automation is like sort of critical. Now, one thing I was going to try to figure out here is I was going to try to do, let's start out with, we'll do a little bit of a warm-up. And my warm-up today really is just going to be, first off, let's do the build and see if the desktop build works on here. So, okay, that's what I was expecting. All right, so that's fine. I know how to fix that problem. I think I'm going to wind up just doing these builds on my main account and just streaming from there. It's too hard to keep maintaining these two separate accounts. Let's try to rebuild this. And now the zip directory task failed unexpectedly. Right, so the zip task is failing because what happened is desktop bin, desktop content. There's no content folder. All right, so what So what I want to figure out is let's maximize this real quick, and let's go into the build, and we're going to try to fix this build target. I should also come in here and fix the font so you guys can actually see what the hell I'm doing. 18. There we go. It's a little better. Maybe I should make it a little bit bigger. What's my display at? Oh, I also need some music. Yeah, I had it. All right, well, I'm trying to get the happy medium between like something that's legible at 1080p and also something that's not like making me feel like I'm stuck in this like tiny little window. I should also get some music going. So let me just do that, and it looks like the music is playing. Oh, let me check this out real quick. No, okay, good. The music isn't going through on your guys' end. It's bad enough you're gonna have to listen to birds chirping in the window and cars driving by, but it's that weird time in New York where it's like somewhat cool, but then at the same time it's not hot enough for the air AC to be on, but yeah, my office just gets really, really hot. All right. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to work on this little build task. So this is a custom build task for MS Build, and I'm just starting to like learn how these things work. In fact, let me delete the test one. And all I was building was this task here that zips up a directory. And what we're eventually going to do is get this to the point of where it can actually it'll build everything out. But right now, I'm just trying to build out the operating system, which are all the files inside of shared, content, and this Pixel Vision OS sort of thing. So what's happening is we need to find the parent directory. I can never remember how to do this in let's see here. What we should do is I should make this where there is a output directory and an output required public string output directory. And what we could do is the output file name is create custom directory. It would be var export path equals output directory plus plus output file name. And then here we will, if this exists, well, we want to do two things. First off, if directory exists, we're going to look to see if our directory doesn't exist. And then if the directory doesn't exist, we are going to, if directory doesn't exist, output directory, we are going to directory.create directory, output directory. Why is this, oh, there we go, okay. The Visual Studio on the Mac like takes its sweet time to to sort of autocorrect. So first thing we're going to do is test to see if the output directory exists. Exist. Then what we're going to do is test to see if the output file exists. And in this case, what we'll do is here we'll add the export path down here, and then we'll delete it, and then delete file. And then the last thing we're going to do is zip up the directory. Cool. All right, so do optimal. We'll leave it as optimal. That's fine. All right, so this should fix the problem we were having earlier. What I need to do now is I'm going to build. Let me see, where is this task? This is the build stuff. I'm going to rebuild this. Rebuild this task. Oh, there goes the truck. Oh, that's loud. I really don't want to close my window. Lately, there hasn't been a lot of people watching the stream, so I'm not terribly worried about the unprofessionalness of it. All right, so that's built, and now let's try to rerun the desktop. I don't know. I was told that I might have to like redo. Zip task failed unexpectedly. My phone's in the way of the other side of the screen. Let's see what the errors are. Build output. So build target zip failed. Directory cannot be found. All right. So what I think is happening is that this thing is. Is there a way to like reload this whole thing? All right. Refresh, and let me try to just clear all and then rebuild it. I don't think. I think. What someone was telling me this morning was that the build tasks, when I recompile them, I probably have to. I might have to restart Visual Studio every time I want to rerun it. It's like a really like terrible workflow. Let's edit the references, net assembly. Let's get rid of this. And then let's see if we just add it back in, if that actually helps. Build, bin, debug. Whoa, interesting. Well, that didn't build, so that's not cool. Let me rebuild that. Rebuild. Edit references. That's probably why it failed. And then here we need to get a reference to bin, debug. There we go. Okay, and now let's rerun this. So now we should get a new warning, and the warning should be something like temporary part of the path doesn't exist. All right, let's, so the other thing, I expected it to give me a warning of output directory. Let's tools, edit file, go down to the bottom, and let's take a look here. What we want is output directory equals this, and the name of the file will be this. So override existing true, include base directory, whatever that means. Yeah, sure, true. And let's try to rerun it and see if we can get it to build. Nope, now we got 2 errors. Output parameter is not supported. Right, so it's not seeing this. Let's try quitting Visual Studio. Oh God, please tell me this isn't the workflow that I have to do. Once I get this under control, I won't have to like test it so much. I'm still learning sort of how the process works, and because of that, there's just a lot of like trial and error. All right, so Pixel Vision 8. Let's see. All right, I'm going to rebuild. Wow, that really was the solution. I have to restart Visual Studio every time I make a change. All right, cool. So one problem solved, another problem found. I had, when I was doing the mobile builds yesterday, I broke a bunch of stuff, and I want to go through and sort of figure out what I broke. Now, let's see if we can get a an accelerated emulator working. And that's the other part. So build, so it's probably going to be build of the, okay, so that task broke. So let's do this. Let's move over our new task, which should be here. Import this, and sorry, so here's Android project. Let's go to tools and edit file. And then down here, we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to put in our new path to the packages. Actually, I don't need this one. I copied over the wrong one. It should be this right here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this. We're going to import this from the builds bin directory, build before, and then what we're going to do is files to include. So we're going to include everything that we were including before, and the output folder is going to be the output directory will now be for Android. It's going to be PixelVision 8.android/releases, and it's going to be called PixelVision OS. And that should now work. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe I need to. The other thing I probably need to do is add a reference here. So edit references, .NET assembly, and let's go point this over to the build bin debug DLL and hit OK. All right. So now, if we run this, we're still getting 2 errors. Output parameter is not supported in zip directory task. Verify the parameter exists. And the zip directory could not be initialized with its input parameter. All right, so let's quit Visual Studio and load it back up. I have to look into how to create a local NuGet repo. On my list, on my never-ending list of now learning like deeper C# stuff, I need to learn how to get into the other assembly stuff and how to like get this stuff working better and understand what I'm doing, because all right, so let's see. Let's try to run this on a local Android emulator. All right, nope. Input base directory. Why is this giving me an error? Check for content. So it loads in all of this stuff? What? The output directory parameter is not supported by zip directory task. Oh, you know what? Here. I need to remove this and try rerunning it. I think there was just a conflict with my old task. Yep, there we go. Everything seems to be building. Nope. Say, open my mouth. The last access write time. Okay, I know how to fix that problem. That's the other issue. Bin object, move to trash. And now for the grand finale. Still a build error. Awesome. Exception while loading assembly. System file not found. Exception could not load assembly. Build.utils. Oh, hey, look at that. Edit references, build. What is it? What are those called? Wait, why is that not showing up? References, edit references. That's annoying. Why can't I add them to this project? Packages, projects, assembly. Oh, is the recycling coming? No, they're just down the block. Why can't... It's so loud. Android base classes. What's this stuff? .NET assemblies. Projects. Builds compatible. Incompatible with the target .NET framework. Alright, that's fun. So, I don't know how to fix this problem. I live on like I wouldn't say like terribly busy intersection, but there's enough cars that come by constantly to make it annoying. Why can't I, loading assembly. Can I load the assembly? Microsoft build.utils. Yeah, it doesn't exist in the mono. Alright. Whoops, I don't want that. I don't even know what the hell I just opened. When in Chrome. Oh my god, what's going on? Why is all this crap opening? Alright, so alright, build task and release task. Can't build. What was the error? Exception while loading assemblies. Could not load assembly. Alright, so what I want is, can I like pin this? So what I want to figure out is why these assemblies don't exist. So mono for Android error loading build assemblies. Error loading assemblies. Have a look at this one. The DLL doesn't seem to be supported in Xamarin or Android. All right. Exception while loading assemblies. What did they? You get Microsoft. So let's see if there's a NuGet package for add packages. I don't think there is though for build. Automates the build and NuGet package restore for Visual Studio. Especially provides a simple and straightforward way to build solutions and NuGet packages via the command line. All right, let's add this and see if that works. Could not add build. Fascinating. Every time that I feel like I make like a little bit of progress in this thing, I wind up getting like totally set back over something stupid. Now, what I don't understand is edit references, .NET. Pixel Vision build. Let me remove Pixel Vision build for a second and see if it could just load. Now I don't know if I need over. Oh no, this is going to screw up my audio. Testing. All right. I think last time this messed up my audio, and then I couldn't get it all back. Hold on. Is my let's see. Sounds like my audio is working fine. All right, good. I know. Same with the emulator yesterday or the other day when I tried to run it, like broke my audio and my mic. So why didn't this? Oh, now it's installing. I'm just waiting for it to install. Let's see what happens here. Let me mute this thing. You won't disturb. Yeah, that sounds great. All right. Hey, look at it running the emulator. Wow, that's awesome. It's actually running pretty fast. I didn't feel like it was. Yeah, I have something with this view where this view gets screwed up. But all right, that's sort of good to know that it runs in the emulator like actually fast enough to test. But here comes the recycling. Sorry, it's gonna get loud. I'm gonna mute myself. Yeah, they're still doing the recycling. But what I was trying to test out was that this this isn't generating out a new build. Sorry, it's messaging someone. All right, so let's see. So now that I took out the assembly, it doesn't seem to work. Let's try doing this real quick. Let's try deleting this, move to trash. I'll regret this, I know. All right, could not copy assets Pixel Vision OS because it was not found. Right, I need that there. So let's see, the last time it was created was 7. All right, so in order to get this working, I need to tell the asset thing to import it. So my hope is that it always just rebuilds the zip. But it doesn't look like it, looking at the created time, it doesn't look like it's even calling that assembly. Shoot. This is so frustrating. Like, it's like trying to just get all these live, like Microsoft has such a, like, it's such a mess with .NET right now. Like the difference between like the system.core stuff versus the, so how do I use MS build in .core project. Can't run code analysis in MS build for .NET Core. MS cannot load tasks built against MS. All right, let's see here. All right, the short answer is that this is only the tip of the iceberg. I could get past this error by removing the Microsoft Build utility reference and adding in Microsoft Build NuGet dependency. That solved the issue in the simplified reproducer I post here, but my real application got further errors. Your best option probably is to multi-target your task to a version of .NET Standard, .NET Core, and .NET Framework like this, and use different assemblies based on MS runtime using task example. That's awful. So it fixes, there's a lot of NuGet DDLs that don't work into .NET because of this. Yeah, this is sort of the problem I was thinking. I was able to dig through this and add element forms, exclude asset build. I could build original via MS build but not .NET builds due to this, which caused the error. After adding this, I got further, but since I have XAML pages in there, it seems to fail in generating anything. The most boring streams ever this week. All right, well, hey, look, the good news is there's not much I need to change in the OS. So I'm not terribly worried about that right now, but it would be good to be able to do different builds. So let's see here. I want to go back to iOS is a complete bust. I wasn't able to, like, it's not seeing the I mean, I guess I could try running it in a simulator, but I haven't even built that yet. Android now runs, but I'm going to shut down the simulator. Let's try to get the desktop build to actually work a little bit better. All right, testing. Oh, now the audio is screwed up. Hold, I'll be right back. Okay, I think I'm back. Woo! This setup is terrible. I really need to fix. I need to fix a lot of things. All right, I think the build stuff is just a mess. I don't know what to do for. I guess I'm gonna have to convert the build desktop thing into a. I don't know. Maybe I can make like a master project that just does all the other builds. I don't know. There's a lot going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears real quick. At least now I know that the build stuff works. I can actually get rid of, in here I had this, well that's Android. We can get rid of that too. These common tasks. I don't need this. Let's remove this. And then in desktop, I can remove them as well. I had a commons task thing. Remove. And build test, let's remove that. And now I just need to go through and sort of figure out how to fix all right, so let's go through and figure out what was wrong with the desktop build. I broke a few things yesterday getting Android to work. This is the problem. Like whenever you have a project that's like really fragile like this, and like you're just starting to get it back up and running, it's just frustrating. It takes a lot of time to go through and get this stuff actually working. Right now, what I'm running into is that there's an invalid path here. Does this actually show me the value of what path is? System BIOS. So I guess this File system. Let's see what mounts there are. User, temp, and storage. So what I don't have is system. All right, so let's go through and figure out why this is no longer loading the system. What I was starting to do was I don't know how to like search for a file. What is it? Command period. It's like the third editor I've used this week. All right, so we're gonna open up. Well, we're gonna open up game 1 inside of the desktop. And oh, loud cars. Oh, it's like a gigantic truck that's going down the block that shouldn't be on our block. All right, whatever. Next week's stream is going to be a lot better. This has just been like sort of a not very good week of streaming. I've made some interesting progress, but not where I really want to be at the moment. All right, so there are two. I want to look at the Android game 1 and see what I did here. What I basically started doing yesterday was building out that the workspace had a collection of paths, and that it knew about the well, I basically sorted this stuff out. Now, what I don't understand is in this game, why is this not working? Let me go to create workspace with these paths, and am I just not calling mount file system? I am. File system. So this should create a why is it not creating a zip? Let's see here real quick. So it doesn't see that. Runner game, workspace service. So that's this one where it's a string and a string. So let me see what values are coming into this. What I'm trying to debug is that it should build out the basic workspace path. So mounts, raw view. And I don't want to see mounts. I actually want to see paths that are passed in. There should be a system path. So what is the value here? All right, I'm really confused as to why, if the path value ends, maybe because it doesn't exist. Maybe this thing isn't running. Build, desktop, bin. Whoa, what the why is this task not running anymore? Let me move that to the trash. Let me rerun this. And I gotta figure out where the hell it's building this stuff to. This is not giving me an error anymore. Edit. Tools, edit file. So there should be a, using task zip, name before build, solution, share, content, Pixel Vision OS. Zip this to the target directory / content and Pixel Vision OS, override existing, including base directory. So now I'll rerun this, and it's not giving me an error on that task, but it's not building it. Why does it keep putting this here? What am I missing in this thing here? Target directory. why is target directory not a... let's see here. MS build target directory, common micros for build commands and properties. The path to the output file directory. If this is a relative path, output goes to this path appended to the project directory. This path should have a trailing slash. This resolves to the output directory. So let's try that. Output directory slash content and see if we can run that. The only thing, oh, what's with the trucks? The only thing I can think of is that it, interesting. Did that build it? It still built it here. I have a feeling that there's a problem with the build task. Where is builds? I may not be output file name. Here we go. This is the problem. I need the export path. It's putting that into... all right, let's rebuild this. Let's quit Visual Studio and then reopen Visual Studio. All right, so let's try this one more time. Yay, I hate motorcycles. I used to hate them in the city, like they're so loud. And like, we actually don't live too far away from a Harley Davidson dealership. And they're just like really loud. I mean, I guess they're like, I don't know, I'm not a big motorcycle person. But I just, so you're trying to sleep and some like schmuck drives down the block and like revs up his motorcycle. It's just like a dick move. All right, so we're building this. Ben, hey, look, everything works again. All right, so it just, I had the wrong path. That's interesting that it's relative, so good to know that that's relative. All right, so here is our game running. Now, what I want to figure out, there's a few things that I need to sort out. The first is, there we go, there's another motorcycle. The first I want to do is understand why the frames per second counter isn't working. So let's, oh, I need some water. Let's take a look at that. It is like really hot in my office. Actually, since it looks like it's just me streaming for myself, I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and I'll be right back. How did that just fail? Alright, I was just going to try to leave this up and running so I had some sort of motion on the screen. Alright, I'll be right back. So I want to figure out how to fix the frames per second counter. I mean, we're actually getting pretty close to where this needs to be like sort of viable. I also had some code, but of course I didn't copy it over to here for the controller stuff. But I don't know how to. I wonder if mono Xbox One controller Mac. OpenAI has a database of joysticks here. So if Xbox still doesn't work, submit your. It's compatible with the SDL gamepad database. Hoping to have this removed back in with SDL controller, but the user. All right, so. All right, we'll look into the controller stuff. I was trying to. I also kind of wanted to get controller support working. I would love to this weekend. I gotta close my window. I'm just gonna like die in here. It's only 82 degrees in my office. I think probably this weekend I'll start putting the AC on again. All right, so load BIOS. All right, let's take a look at. Let's look at the game chip. Well, you know what we should do? I can't stand Visual Studio on the Mac. Let's quit this. Let's open up Writer and see if everything works in Writer. Like the goal is to get all of these build scripts and the automation stuff working across any IDE or any platform I want to use, so that I can go to Windows, build the UWPC, whatever, or the UWP version of it. On Mac, I could build the Mac version and sort of get all that stuff running. Pixel Vision 8, all right. So I'm going to spend a great deal of time trying to get the configuration stuff working and the automation stuff working, because that's sort of going to be like really important into getting all these different builds. And my goal is like I would love to this weekend have like an actual like playable build of Pixel Vision 8 on the Xbox with controller support. I've not actually added controller support to it. Why is this not loaded yet? Loading project. All right, still trying to figure out all this stuff. Do I need you already own the wired Xbox, but if you need to buy a standard controller, it's about 50. Can you use an Xbox One controller on a Mac? Good news is that you can also use an Xbox One controller on the Mac. Somewhat bad news is that unlike the plug-and-play wireless nature of the PS4 controller, the Xbox controller requires some third-party drivers, and configuration is not working in OS X. All right, I have a extensive collection of controllers. I wonder where. I have another controller somewhere around here. All right, we're gonna try controller support today. I think the two things I'd like to figure out is how to. Let's get the build stuff working real quick. Let's see. We're gonna build the default build and get this running. I got to talk to the Writer guys and get. I got to get Android support working again, because Android isn't working in Writer, and that's really annoying. Let's see here. So the zip directory task failed unexpectedly. System.io could not create the file content. The file already exists. All right, so that's a problem in mind. Now I wonder. Let's see if Writer is smart enough to not have to redo this whole thing. What I wanted to see was if file exists, output file name, export path. This is what we want to do. Delete export file path. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to let's build selected project. So that builds. And now on the desktop, what I want to do is, I don't think there's any way I can refresh this, but let's just try to build it and see if it fixes, if it automatically reads that DLL. Ryder might be my ticket. Oh, thank you, Ryder. I love you. Wow, Ryder came through for me in a pinch. In Ryder, I don't have to rebuild it. I don't have to rebuild the whole. I don't have to restart the project when I rebuild the stuff. So, all right, we're going to be in Ryder for a while. All right, cool. So we're back up. We're running, and let's go and figure out the game chip, and actually the Lua game chip. I want to see where read frames per second comes from. Here we calculate frames per second. It's a getter on the game chip. So update frame count, current sprites. Console write line FPS all right, let's see if this actually works. I don't think I think there's something that's blocking. I think there's something that's blocking the update call, and it's not updating the frames per second correctly. So we'll see really quickly if this actually works. Oh. So it's funny, the frame rate is fluctuating like a lot. That could be just from the output stuff, but what's happening is that it's not, the display isn't changing much. Why is the frames per second frame count? All right, so that's the frame count. So, all right, I got that. Frames per second is right here. All right, so let me try running this now. What is the update rate? 4 updates per second. So maybe that's wrong. All right, so let's check what the actual FPS is. Maybe I just need to rewrite the frame counter stuff. Perhaps that should just be platform specific and not tied into the game chip. I don't. A lot of this is just code that I grabbed from somewhere else. Yeah, just give me 59 frames a second, which isn't right because it's stuttering and stuff. All right, so let's see here. So MonoGame display frames per second, and let's see how they count. How do DNA frame per second count it? All right, frame rate is most commonly known for a way to know if how many images per second you game is drawing. Inside your game class, declare these variables. On the put the name of the font. Yeah, fine. I don't need to worry about that. On the update pump, times per second, allow the game to exit. Finally, on the draw function, draw. Okay, so let's try this real quick. I'm going to I'm gonna take this out real quick. Now, you know what, let's leave that in there. What we'll do is let's go to the desktop game chip, and in this game chip we'll calculate the frame rate, and we'll use that as the, we'll try this guy's code and see if that works. Update. All right, that's interesting. Why is that? Must be a problem with the 1 second is, this should be, I think that's the I think that's a greater than. All right, these entire reference amp are predefined HTML, right? It's greater than. So that's greater than time elapsed. All right, so what I want to do is here we're going to console. Actually, I think there's a print statement I added. Print. Yeah, there we go. Print. FPS. Just add a colon so I know it's different than the other one in case that other one's still active. FPS. And then what we'll do is whenever we load this, we'll just add that into, we'll just override the existing Lua one until I can fix it. Let's see if this gives me a more accurate frames per second. All right, so we're loading. It's funny, it says 59 frames per second. Well, now it locked up. Throw an error. Why did we throw an error? Lua game chip, chip manager, runner. I wonder what flagged that. Did I just lose the frames per second or something? Lua game chip. Oh, I disabled. I thought I re-enabled that. There we go. All right, let's try running this again. It's interesting. I wonder what that 0 frames per second is. Huh. So it's still showing me 59 frames a second, but when the why is that? I definitely wonder where that 0 comes in from. So let me see if I can rewrite over this. So game extends runner game, and there should be a place where I update, draw, change mode, load. There should be one where I configure engine, configure services. Let's see if we can add this custom one in, and we'll go to game 1 here, and let's pull out, get rid of this, get rid of this, and this, and this, and go to the game runner. All right, so I'm gonna put that here. public int read FPS return FPS. And then what we're going to do is on, just like I did here, we'll pull out this override. Let's see if there's an update. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. All right, let's paste this down here, pull this out, get rid of this, and now we can do the update stuff here. All right, so in theory, what that should do is that should now override the frames per second counter from the internal engine and do it a little bit closer to how, at least whatever that example from MonoGame was. Let's see if it flickers between, well, now it's showing 50. Oh, I see what it was doing. I think the other example was, well, it's saying 59. All right, so this is getting called somewhere where it shouldn't be getting called. Game chip. Yeah, all right, get rid of this. And game. I'm like having like a moment like this week where it's just, I'm not like focused. Print FPS. All right, let's try running this now and see if the frames per second match up. So the problem is I was just noticing that it was like running like really like choppy on Android, and I couldn't figure out really why. So I wasn't sure if my frames per second counter was broken. This isn't looking very promising. Why is it outputting a frames per second 0, but it's not? So this is saying frames per second 0, and now I don't think it's working. Initialize. Globals, script global. I wonder if I wonder when this gets called. So print register mono FPS. Lua game chip. Register PV8 frames per second. And then what I want to do is on the game class where I output it, let's just hide this for a second and see which one gets called first. I want to add a new task. I was going to add it here. Tired today. Always tired. I don't even know if I got a good night's sleep. I don't know. I was up early. My last trip like sort of screwed up my sleep schedule. All this builds, I'll take a look to see if I even. Yeah, 5, almost 6 hours. That's sort of normal. Sorry, register. All right, so here's the problem. We're registering the mono frames per second first, and then we're registering the other one afterwards. So let's figure out where we can fix. What I'm going to do is on the Lua game chip, I'm going to stop I'm gonna hide this, and let's run this and see if it works. Because then it should show 0, which I don't know why it's showing 0, but we'll cross that bridge when we need to. All right, so now it's showing 0 for the frame rate. So let's come here, and let's go find someone else who knows what they're talking about. Calculating the frame rate. In XNA, we can calculate the frame rate of our game with one line of code in the draw method. This way of calculating the frame rate is about as simple as it gets. Seeing the frame rate, obviously the line of code isn't going to do much. So, all right. So let's try this approach. Well, do I have a draw? Override draw, game time. Now let's try this. So cannot convert a float to an int. Sure we can. Have you not tried this before? There we go. Look, it's an int now. Fascinating. All right, let's rerun this again and see if this now works. I'm just looking for something other than 59. And once we can see that this works, well, now I'm looking for something that's other than 0. Now we can see if we can calculate a very basic frames per second. I'll throw this into Android. All right, so now it's at 59. So at least we're getting, I mean, I guess we're back to where we started. What I'm curious about is if I did console write line FPS, this should, every time we do a console write, it slows things down. So let's see if this changes the frame rate based on the fact that we're like spamming the console. No, that's not good. Well, it is changing the frame rate. So, all right, I feel a little bit more comfortable. This is more accurate. All right. I'll be back in 1 second. All right, so let's get rid of this. Now, why is this not, argument is not used in format string. I don't know what that means. I don't know why it's not outputting code. All right, but this is now outputting. So what I wanted to do real quick was, oh, of course I can't run a, all right, let me, this is my life. Let me quit this since it doesn't do Android. And let's go to Visual Studio. And let's see if we can get it to output an Android build and get a more accurate view of what the frames per second are. It is good to know that Rider allows me to update the build tasks and not have to restart the whole IDE. So I'll be using that. The only reason I'm going back into Visual Studio right now on the Mac is that I just need to use these. I just need to use these debuggers. or the emulator and publishing to Android. So, and then this is going to kill my audio again. Closing my music in preparation for it screwing up my audio when I quit the emulator. We're gonna do a few quick builds. I just want to get the emulator up and running and see how this works. And then once we get that up and running, I'm gonna do a build to one of these devices I have sitting in front of me. What's going on here? What? Help build a better keyboard. No thanks. I don't even know why all this stuff is there. I just want to play the game. All right, try this again. Building the debugger, or the tester, or emulator, whatever the hell this thing is. All right, there we go. So there, it is now. There's like a weird little like stutter. It looks like it almost goes down to like 30 frames a second. And that's what I got to figure out is what is causing that. Oh, I just saw it go down to like 20. All right, so that's running in this simulator. Let's get out of this. All right, I'm gonna kill this and then I'm gonna have to go fix my audio. Is my audio working? Oh, it didn't take down the audio this time. That's interesting. All right, so let's try. I'm going to try sending it to my Shield tablet and see how that works. All right, installing. You guys can't see this. This is the joy of doing this stuff remotely. It plays really strangely. All right, so yeah, it's on this tablet. It's hovering between like it keeps flickering between like 50 and 59 and like 29, like really fast. But it is showing some sort of variable frame rate. All right, so that's closer. Now the real test was I was seeing a little bit more slowdown on one of these like really old Fire tablets. I was trying to see how far back I could go. So let me try building it on this. And now on the Amazon Fire tablet, I'll run it real quick. We'll take a look at what's going on. I was waiting for it to boot up. All right, so in this tablet, it's running at 29 frames a second, and then it sometimes flickers down into the teens. But all right, so this is running at half the frame rate as the NVIDIA Shield. All right, well, I mean, and the Shield is like a really powerful tablet. What I'm interested in is why on Android. Well, one, why the performance drops down, and then two. The other thing I'm interested in is why it's running at half the frame rate at 30 frames a second on this device. So, all right, that's something else that I'll have to figure out how to fix. I mean, it doesn't look like me doing these like this sort of like porting over a Pixel Vision 8 to mono is a very interesting thing for people to watch. So I might actually just wind up ending the stream very soon. Lord knows I have enough real work to do. Next week I'm going to come back and I'm going to be doing all Unity stuff. So all right, so what do I want to do now? I have the frames per second stuff. So let's do this. In the runner, I think I'm going to get rid of, well, in the Lua game, I'm going to get rid of this register frames per second thing. And I think I'm just going to, remove this from the SDK altogether and let you calculate what you want, because it's just not going to be maintainable on, that will leave, let's get rid of this, but on the actual game chip, so read FPS, well, first let's go here. Let's get rid of this. It's just based on how you're running it, the frame rate isn't consistent. So what I'll do is I'll just expose that on each of the runners. And then here I can get rid of the frame count, DT, and update rate, all this stuff. And the FPS. And let's see where that causes a problem. So that's that. There's no errors there. Game runner, there's no errors. And we can get rid of this stuff for right now. We'll put the frames per second at the top of the screen, or at the top of this class. Wonder why you put it in draw instead of update. But whatever. Now at least, now I'll just, each platform I'll calculate the frames per second based on, so if it's Unity, I'll do it the other way and whatnot. Now, all right, so that's there again. And if we run this one last time, let's just make sure that there aren't any other compiler errors from pulling that out. Does not exist in the current context. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just public int return 0. Well, wait a minute. Let's see something here. I wonder if I can use the same. Game time elapsed, total seconds. Why can't I just do this? I wonder if this calculation works. I remember like early on, I went through like all these different examples of how to calculate frames per second, and I felt like the one I got was the most accurate at the time. Lua game chip read FPS. So let's add this back in. And now on the runner, we don't need FPS at all. We don't even need this. And we don't need this. I mean, last time I checked, math is math. So there wasn't anything specific I was doing, but I don't know. Like I feel like I've built a million frames per second counters in my life, and I never remember how to do it the same way. All right, so this is booting. Well, all right, so I mean, not like I can tell if that frames per second counter, like I feel like there's like just a weird stutter, and it's not. So the only other way I can test that this actually works is by going back to update and writing out the frames per second and forcing it to sort of throttle itself a little bit. Yeah, see, here's what's weird. Like, it is definitely... okay, the dog wants to take part in the stream. It is definitely stuttering, but it's not... It's not calculating. All right. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick break. Okay, just a lot of stuff going on at home today. All right, so why is the frames per second counter not working? Now, I don't know. I've gone back and forth over this, like how I want it to sort of calculate the frames per second and whether it should be part of the engine or not part of the engine. Clearly, there's some issue with having it inside of the game chip, but I don't understand why this calculation would be any different than any other calculation. The only thing I think of is that maybe it's not returning the value. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this here. This is definitely going to be 0. And now let's go back into our Lua game chip and do FPS. Time delta. A float. Cool, there goes my Mac is locking up again. That's awesome. Why is this not calculating correctly? So let's do console write line. We're going to do FPS. Go away. I don't need all the hints. Thanks. Time. Well, let's just do the actual FPS. Then time delta plus 1 divided by time delta. And see what that winds up outputting. And then we'll go from there. This is a stupid thing to be like stuck on today. I don't know. I think I'd rather go make myself some lunch pretty soon. All right, so this is calculating 59 frames per second, 59.99. All right, so apparently this is working correctly now, which is really interesting because I feel like that should be like stuttering. It looks like it does not look like it's running at 60 frames a second. Maybe the only thing I could think of is that the only difference here is that since it's not being calculated in draw, it isn't as accurate because it's not at the end of the cycle. So let's do this for a second here. This is gonna be a little hacky, but private, or let's do protected float last time delta. Well, I don't think this is actually it. What's interesting about MonoGame is that it actually passes in a time delta on draw. So let's see if we can get this working. So Lua game chip update. This is gonna like break like lots of stuff because I think there's a interface for the game chip that requires an iDraw. I wonder if I can do an overload here. Void. No, it's gonna have to be float delta time. Ugh, what is this going to screw up? All right, so that fixes that there. Then what we need to do in the runner game is when we call draw, we call the runner, we need to pass in the oh, it's just not letting me, like, does not like that idea. I'll just retype it here. So float time elapsed total seconds is a double. Game time elapsed time total seconds. I think this is the problem right here, is that this should be a, I feel like this should be milliseconds. I want to see something real quick. This may not be passing in the right amount, and that might actually draw was this calculating millisecond 2 total seconds? I got to fix the division here. But what I'm kind of interested in now is everything else in Pixel Vision is, well, no, wait, no, it is no, this is wrong. All right. It was just a double. This is going to break things. Yeah, nothing's going to run. All right, so it is seconds. So let's go back here to the game runner. And this is seconds. So all right, it was a double, and it's being just passed. It's being converted into a float. All right, so let's try to do this. Let's try to pass in this game time here. And then we'll just go back through the chain. And we'll add in float time delta, float time delta, and here we'll add in float time delta, and Lua chip for draw we'll do time delta. And then we should also do base draw time delta. All right, so let's rerun this and see if this works. I guess maybe there's something, like maybe it does maybe it takes into account at the end of the draw frame, like what? Oh, fudge. Let's it's just going to be easier to do it this way. Oh, shoot. I didn't, I just copied it when I meant to paste it. I haven't gotten to the point yet where I can actually test these C# examples. I think I tested it early on. It definitely could use some retesting, but it's sort of a critical part is that I want you to be able to either use the Lua, like once I get enough of this engine running, I'll be able to swap back out. Instead of having a Lua thing, you can just do C#. And I've been using that because it's interesting to see where the overhead is in the Lua runner. Like the whole goal was to make Pixel Vision 8 sort of just a sketch pad, not a full production environment, and that you sort of sketch out your ideas in Lua where it's quick, and then you, if you want to build that game, you go and just sort of port it over to C#. We'll see if I can ever get that workflow actually working. What the hell is this? Display chip. Oh, great. Everything, like, it touches this. Float time delta. That means that the, where's draw? What is this chip? This is Pixel Vision Engine. Draw, float, time, delta, time, delta. You know what, I could have solved this by just making time delta equal 0. But that's fine. We'll just fix all these things. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, if... Sprites demo chip needs this, and the NES sprite demo chip needs this. Wait, what just happened? Oh, crap. I hate when I do that. Why is it not copying and pasting? What the hell's going on? All right. Try running this again. It's funny. I just send out a message to all the people that are using Pixel Vision 8 that I wouldn't change the API, and of course I just changed the API today. But that's why I'm just kind of curious to see what if this actually. Yeah, that's not good. To infinity and beyond. All right, so why is that happening? Game chip. Draw. All right, let's see if this works. Cool, I lost my day to writing a frames per second counter again. Why was that infinity? If you're just tuning in, I'm trying to get, trying to get this to work correctly. All right, so let's look now at the runner game. Why is this cast time? Game time. What the hell is going on with MonoGame? What am I missing? Have you tried default engines? This is actually a Lua engine. I've not tried default. I actually I knew someone over there that was that helped launch it. We actually partnered with them on one of their launch events at GDC. I actually don't want to use Lua. Lua is really for people who are just getting started. I want to use C# to build my 8-bit games. Game time, seconds. Now, I don't know why this is redundant, because there is one other thing I want to test out also, is clearing the whole background screen on every draw. I thought I had taken that out. I'm still getting this infinity error. And once I get that infinity error, that means everything's broken. Shoot. Well, when in doubt, undo. I wonder if I could just, crap, how far back do I want to go back? All right, let's look at Git real quick and just see what. So today we're going to learn how to roll back code in Git. Git status. What I don't want to do is, I don't want to lose the build stuff. I want to roll back Git checkout demos. Then Git shared SDK. I guess since Lua is an interpreter and doesn't have a proper OOP, it might be hard for people to see it as a proper language. Yeah, it's definitely a scripting language. I mean, I feel like that kind of stuff is a lot easier than explaining to people like, let's get Visual Studio open. It was like, I've been struggling with that. Like, which version of Visual Studio to use? Which version of .NET? Let's package up. Let's get from Git. Like, the whole goal is to have this, like, what I like about the Fantasy Console stuff. Whoops, clear. Ah, crap. What did I just enter into? I wanted it to be where people could just simply go through and, you know, get up and running really quickly. That's the whole goal of what, like, there's two goals to Pixel Vision 8. One is to have like a really solid C# framework for building 8-bit games, and the other is to hold on. I just want to get this. I should just roll back the whole shared, and now see where this nets us. I can't remember what I did up until this point. The other part is to have something where I wanted like a white label fantasy console, and what I'm doing right now in this port and why I'm moving this over to MonoGame is I wanted to build the thinnest layer possible for an executable, and I'm making a lot of the tools and stuff that's in the game creator modular. All right, well, at least this loaded. All right, so we just rolled all this crap back. That was a fun hour of my life I'll never get back again. But all this stuff that loaded up and what you saw, that's all going to be modular. So if you wanted to write your own OS, you actually could. In here, I just have a folder called Pixel Vision OS, and I'm in the process of sort of packaging this up. And if you don't, you can always just like take the exe, dump in your game, and then distribute that, and it'll run. But I wanted to get to the point where like thinking of Pixel Vision 8 more like a hardware, like virtual hardware, and that anyone can come through and sort of add what they want to it. How do I salvage this day? Well, I did get the build task working, so I consider that somewhat of a success. Let's take a look at something real quick. There's the runner game. I noticed it while I was muddling around in here. I want to just get rid of this one line here. And let's run this and see what happens. Basically, that is a command to clear the whole screen. And I don't want to clear the whole screen on every frame. So what you're seeing in the background here is this blue. So let's do this. I'm going to actually, let me quit out of this. This is the most exciting way possible to do this. Let's open up Visual Studio for a second. And I'm just going to do a build back to this Fire tablet. Now, of course, I don't have an accurate frame per second. Now I don't have a frame per second counter. I'm going to see if I can get this. I'm going to see if I can get this to now actually register. What I'm thinking is that the frames per second stuff should just be an action that I register with the game engine. And if you don't register that action, then it just won't use it. But then this way, the frames per second stuff can be calculated externally from the actual core engine. All right, here we got this. I'm going to open up. Unfortunately, you guys aren't going to be able to see it. The dog's going crazy. I have all the windows open. Actually, I should go close the window. I'll be right back. While this builds, I'm going to go close the window downstairs to make sure it doesn't jump through the screen. I'll be back. All right, the dog can't jump out the window now. Oh, cool. It built to my tablet. Still looks like it's stuttering, and of course now I can't tell the. Now I can't tell because I don't have a frame rate counter. It's driving me nuts. What makes it 8-bit? It's the So there's a lot of restrictions on the APIs. All the stuff internally runs on ints. It's the resolution, the palette, a lot of stuff that's artificially constrained. So think of it as like a constraint wrapper around the C#. So in essence, what I'm doing is sort of forcing MonoGame now to be. I'm forcing MonoGame to basically be an 8-bit framework. Eventually there'll be some more. Let me open back up Rider. Eventually there'll be better things in there that force it to be more 8-bit-ish. I don't have memory constraints and stuff like that. Like, there's a fine line between having it be 100% accurate and also not having it be assembly. So what I wanted to do was create something that was a little bit more accurate but a little bit more fun. And what I didn't like about the other fantasy consoles, outside of the fact that they were very closed systems, was that you couldn't configure the specs. You couldn't really add your own tools to it. So Pixel Vision 8 is like really, really open. All the tools and stuff in the game creator are actually just games themselves. And that's what I need to port over next. I now have enough of the core running that I can probably start getting games working. I just need to to build in the other services that we're missing. Which I'm probably not going to get to today. I think I'm going to probably... Now, of course, people are at the stream. Maybe I've been streaming too early. That's the thing. For the past few days, I haven't had like a lot of people like joining the stream. It's very depressing. Hey, let me see if I can pull out... GitHub. Let me see if I can pull this from my... it's never going to let me do this. Users, Jesse Freeman, documents. I don't want to fuck with my permissions. All right. Pixel Vision 8. Damn it. I have it in my downloads folder. Fuck it. Let's see if we can just screw with this. Read only. Get info. Doesn't like that. I've been breaking my permissions all over the place. It's really quite awesome. Alpha. Let's see. Where did I download that stuff? MonoGame controller. All right, that's all I needed to do. Delete this and just broke into my own computer. Update dump. Yeah, well, I think, you know, it's I don't know. I haven't. The problem I have with the stream is like I start getting into one. I'm like really limited on time. Like a lot of times, like right now, everyone I work with is in Seattle, so they're probably getting to the office now. So I start getting emails around this time, and I try to do it in the morning before everyone like is really in the office in Seattle. But then the challenge is that I can't like. I also travel a lot, so as soon as I start getting like a good momentum going, then all of a sudden I go on a trip and then I'm gone for like a whole week and I lose everyone again. So, you know, it's a little bit of a struggle. Let's see. I'm going to do one last ditch effort. I got like 30 minutes before I start starving to death. I'm going to load up. Sean had created this like one-off version, and I think he had added in stuff that does controllers. So I'm going to take a look and see if I can copy some of the controller stuff. I've notoriously have had problems with getting controllers to work on the Mac, but I mean, I have a PlayStation controller. I have a few that I know should just work by plugging in through USB. I've not built in controller support to Pixel Vision 8, so. Gamepad button input. That looks promising. All right, let's do this. I'm going to streaming coding is tough. I think you need a very clear and small task and a plan of attack unless you're natural. Yeah, well, I definitely will say that I've had a lot better success when I'm building games than like this stuff is like grueling. Like even I don't want to be here doing this shit. Right now, it's just trying to get all of the stuff, trying to get like all the foundation of a project up and running is just incredibly boring. And I don't fool myself. I am not that entertaining. Controller input. Let's see if we can get something working. What the fuck just copied over there? I guess when I want to be entertaining, I just curse more. Controller input button state. Dude, I don't even remember. I wrote this code like almost like 3 years ago. I wonder what this button state stuff is. I don't remember. The fact that, oh no, this is, wait, is it a Pixel Vision 8 button state or is it a, let's see. All right, well that resolves something. Yeah, I know John. I've talked to John a few times. I'm not 100% sure if he really remembers me, but I've talked to him a few times here and there. Mostly when I worked at Microsoft. Yeah, I haven't, you know, I don't know. There's something like, I focus in on a very specific part of development, and I don't know if it's very interesting. And it's sort of been reflected in, I mean, I do talks for a living, but I've never like had like that super notoriety fame that other people have had. A lot because a lot of the times it's really because I don't know, I focus on input buttons. No, that's not what I wanted. I want chips, buttons. Where's value coming in from? Gamepad input buttons. I don't know. I have yet to reach my fame. I like this building like little dinky 8-bit. I mean, my wife I think put it best when she was just like, "Are you ever going to build a game that's not from like the 80s?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, I don't know." Let's see here. I want to. There's like 2 different input states, I think. I don't remember how I built any of this input stuff. What the hell is going on? And since this code isn't linked or working correctly, let's see. Input factory. Create button bindings. Well, I guess I'm going to do this the hard way, huh? So that got rid of the keyboard input. Let's see. What can we do here? Let's stop this for a second. Let's take a step back and let's just do one test. I just want to test that let's just test if we can get a controller to work. And then I'll come back and I'll make this thing pretty. That's usually my approach to programming. I usually like have like a basic idea of what I want to do. I go through and I test it out. I'll screw around for a little bit until I figure out whether it works or not. And then I basically move on and figure out a way to clean it up. Now, let's see here. Input states is this current input state. Button pressed. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's why I like C# a lot. Is the static typing. Like the early months of trying to get screw this. I don't know. I don't even know what he's doing here. MonoGame. Let me just learn what I need to do. Handling keyboard input. I don't want. Handling key state changes. Handling mouse input. Handling gamepad input. All right, here we go. I like this guy who does games from scratch. I haven't watched any of his streams. I think watching programming is sort of like watching paint dry. I mean, I guess if I was more entertaining, That'd probably help. I also have like gotten really lazy. Like I haven't added back in like any overlays to my stream or like done anything to make it exciting. I'll do some giveaways. There's always room to bribe people, right? But check the device for player 1. If keyboard state, escape, hit exit. If capabilities is connected, well, let's just copy his code and see what he does. What? 4? Interesting. State is defined below. Yeah, whatever. We can just keep. Cannot resolve symbol state. Controller state. I mean, I think when I was doing Ludum Dare, I had a really good amount of following, and I think it was has left thumbstick capabilities, has D-pad up button. Well, I mean, we can just do this, right? Like, found controller. I wonder how it matches up player 1 and player 2. I don't know. I've always struggled with the controller stuff. All right, so I'm going to run this real quick without a controller installed and see what happens. Getting a nice breeze now. I was like cooking in my office earlier. Now that everyone's out of the house, I like opened up the windows. All right, so no controller is found. Perfect. All right, so we'll start with the Xbox One controller. See if that works. It's okay, I'll just break everything here. I don't know. I mean, I wonder what else I can do to make the stream a little bit better. I mean, probably be more entertaining. But I think the other stuff that I'm missing is I don't have like a camera. I mean, I don't really feel like it's important for you to see me. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's rerun this and see if the controller is connected. If not, I'm going to go. I have another controller in my backpack in my closet that's supposed to be Mac friendly. I'm not particularly sure you can use the Xbox One controller on the Mac without a driver. Oh, yeah, that didn't work as to be expected. All right, I'll be right back. Let me go to something else. I'll leave the mic on. You can hear me rummage through stuff. It's always exciting to hear. All right, I got another controller here, just trying to get it connected up. All right, I don't know if I have to turn this thing on or something. I don't even know how I can test these controllers to begin with. Let's just run it and see what happens. Come on, show me a controller. Try turning it on, maybe? I don't think it's on at all. How do you test a controller on a Mac anyways? Controller Lite on the Mac App Store. Joystick and gamepad tester for Mac. Free download. Who doesn't want a virus? From Alpha Omega Software. If you want to test Ugh, these fucking ads. Oh my god, just show me the more text. Ah. All right. Digital analog game. It displays the list of USB drives connected. I mean, how? I don't know. It's got to be. Maybe it was in the App Store. Controller Lite. Let's see what this does. Controller Lite is a simple way to test your controllers. Well, the challenge with this is that I'm not logged into the App Store. Am I? Controller Lite. What was that other thing? Arduino. I just like the icon. See? It's all about having a really good icon for your app. Sure. Install. Yeah, whatever. Let me allow. 5. It's cool. You guys can have all my information. It's the worst part about streaming. At least I'm not on my... Like, this is why I don't stream on my personal account, because then it'd just be like all my stuff. What the? Did I not just do this? Require a password making a purchase. Ugh, whatever. Just HTML5 gamepad. Does that actually work? Gamepad API is still inconsistent across browsers and OS. Something to check. The device is... Oh, hey, look at that. Pfft. You're a genius. All right. Well, that worked. What about this one? Hey! I didn't have to, like, give away all my personal information. How exciting is that? All right. Let's see if MonoGame decides that it feels like I have a controller too. Oh, is this going to work? Come on. I'm shocked that it actually worked on Mac. That's interesting. I wonder if it has more to do with the browser having its own drivers for the controller and not my Mac itself. Because now it doesn't give me jack. Let's see if I can throw in a breakpoint here. Capabilities. Player 1 index. Get capabilities. All right, let me stop that, but let's try that Mac app that I installed. Ugh, I just want to... No controllers were found. If you have a controller connected, you may need to install a driver. Otherwise, please connect a controller and turn it on. That's pretty interesting, huh? So, on the Mac OS, it doesn't pick it up, but in Chrome, it sees my controller. This is sort of... Macs are sort of like a pain in the butt for this. I wonder if... should we boot up into Windows? I don't know. Let's... Hold on. Who makes... Let me see here if there's drivers for... 8-bit gamepad Mac drivers. Which one is this guy? This guy here. Download. Oh, I don't want that. I just want the Mac OS. Press and hold Start and A for 1 second. 2. The LED will start to blink. Press and hold pair for 3 seconds. Go to your Mac OS device. All right, hold on. All right. Is that my controller? Or is it? No, it's my speaker for my monitor. All right, so hold start and A for 1 second. Then hit the pair button. Maybe I should have a webcam for something like this. I think like the oh, okay. So now it looks like it's in pairing mode. Come on. Find my controller. Bluetooth, Bluetooth, Bluetooth. It's like maybe it's not finding the controller. Oh, let me turn it back. See if I can turn this thing off again and then back on again. All right. I think the other one is I can do a PlayStation controller. 1, 2, 3. I think a PlayStation 3 controller works on a Mac with just USB. I'll be right back. Oh, wait. I think it's seeing something. Should we just like blindly connect to it? It's like my neighbor trying. Oh, there we go. Oh, connect. Yay. All right, maybe this will work. Yeah, we did it. Go Team Jesse. All right, so what's button A? What's button 1? All right, well, it definitely sees it. So, all right, that's cool. Let's go back here. This is so exciting. This might work, maybe. I mean, I'm still like a far cry away from having this working in the game. Good thing these build times take a while. It gives me a lot of time to work on closing out my Pomodoro tasks. Oh! Ha! We found the controller! We did it! Success! Wow. That's pretty awesome. How do I do this now? Ugh, of course it's like right at the time that I want to stop streaming so I can eat. Maybe we should do like a stream where I just eat lunch. Anyone find that interesting? Set up a camera in my backyard, I'll barbecue, code, and eat. Okay, so... Huh. Alright, well maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow is we'll add in the controller support. Let me just see. Man, it's been so long since I've done this stuff. If I remember correctly, I think I have a SDK runner engine chips. There's a there should be a controller chip, right? Here we go. And then what I did on the controller chip is I think I inject in register key button down. Oh my god, I don't remember how I wrote any of this stuff. Read controller key, capture key, engine controller chip. Configure this. So I think in the well, first off, I can get this thing sort of working. Let me see. How do I do this? There's key input. Let's see how the key input works. And we'll just like block out this class real quick. Input states current keyboard state. So I key input is get key down, all that jazz. I think what we can do here is if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to just have this implement I key input, get rid of all this, and then here what we want to do is on controller input I want to get, let's move this over here. Runner, I think we need to pass in, this is the controller state, so capabilities, get capabilities, player 1, and then this capabilities. Now, I don't know if this gets updated on every frame, but we should try. What we should be able to do is pass in public controller input, and we'll do gamepad capabilities. Capabilities. Then from here, we will save out this dot capabilities. And here we're going to do private gamepad capabilities dot capabilities. Now, why is this not resolving? Oh. Sneeze. Allergies. The allergies are getting me. All right, so that's there. Then what we need to do next is somehow, well, here we're going to do if, so get key on all of these. We'll do something like this. So controller's capabilities is connected. Why is this not cannot resolve this symbol? I think it's having a problem with false. I think it's having a problem with maybe it's having a problem with this. I key input. What about I controller? Why would the I key input be the same? I feel like modeling this after the keyboard is probably the wrong approach. But what I don't understand is why is this not simple? Create a new local, create a new parameter, change. What the hell am I missing here? So I've seen this problem before in Writer. Watch this. Okay, so I created this class in the shared library. It doesn't understand how to use shared libraries. So frustrating. Oh, let me quit Writer, and then I'll reopen up Writer. Yay, controller still works. I've noticed that Writer can't deal with shared libraries. I just want one IDE that works. Like, because iOS is an end target for me, I can't use Visual Studio, and then Visual Studio on the Mac is a broken mess too. And then Writer is a broken mess. Like, all these things are just sloppy messes. Or hot messes. Hot messes, is that the term? Is that what the cool kids use? All right, so let's let Writer figure out what's going on. I guess I'm just not going to have lunch today. I have some emails I'm supposed to respond to. You can see how high that is on my list. Well, a big part of this is I'm trying to get... Why I started porting over this stuff to MonoGame is I was having some issues with Unity, and I wanted to get some of my little Pixel Vision 8 games working with Game On, and I wanted to get them running in MonoGame and also see if I can get Game On running in MonoGame as well. So I'd have a version of it that runs in Unity and it runs in MonoGame, and I think that'd be a pretty good thing. Let me see if I can keep this thing charged and plugged in. Oops. Plug doesn't sit correctly. I got this like 8-bit-o gamepad thing. It's actually pretty good. All right, so see now all of a sudden, look, capabilities is now working. All right, so I'm gonna, for right now, leave this as this. All right, what I'm looking to do is we're gonna see if the keyboard is, if the controller is connected. We'll get the controller state. And then player 1 index. Whoops, where did that come from? There must be some other thing that needs to be imported in. Import missing references. There we go. And then we need to convert the key. We need to convert my keys into controller state buttons. All right, we'll deal with this later. All we want to do is can test controller button. So just making sure it's not a meeting or something that I'm missing today. All right, so now I just got to figure out how to inject this into the game engine so that it uses it as part of its update stuff. So I think let's see, in the runner there is a input factory, create button binding, new keyboard, create mouse input. So let's do this. Oops, let's not have that there. Public I key input, create controller, controller input. return a new controller input. And what we needed to do here is, well, we're going to create two of these guys. So new array we're going to do one for player 1 and one for player 2. And that will return two controllers. I am highly doubtful that this stuff is going to work, but I figured I'll sketch it out right now. And then, oh man, it's so late. I want to eat. I'll sketch it out right now, and then tomorrow I will. I'll go in and sort of finish this up. Man, to have this running on the Xbox this weekend would be so cool. I think to run games, everything is working for running games. The only thing that's not working right now is just the controller stuff on Xbox. Where's find usage? Where are we calling this? Excuse me, configure input. Pixel Vision Engine. Update controller key, enums, register, create key input, register mouse input. So controller chip. Oh man, I'm actually touching the SDKs. I swear I sent a message out today saying that I was not going to touch any of the APIs in the SDK in this migration, and here I am. But actually, this needed to be moved over anyways. This isn't going to affect anything critical. This should be register controller chip, register controller input factory dot create what did I name this thing? Input. Here's the input factory. Create controller input. Create controller input. On the factory, I now need to add this as part of the interface. The architecture of this is like really kind of like out there because I try to support MonoGame. I'm trying to support a pure C# core and also Unity, which is like the most not pure C# you can get. Controller chip. Right, so now on the controller chip, which is here, let's down here we'll just add this stuff. Public, well actually what I could do is just have writer add this for me. So that's always worked out how I wanted it to. Create new method. And now we'll do this as private. iKey input. I'm going to change that eventually to some sort of custom thing, but we'll just use the keyboard for right now. iKey input, and then we're going to look for controller inputs, and here we'll pass controller inputs, the create controller value, input value, right? And now, I think that works. What we need to just make sure is that when we test, if a button is down, we need to loop through all of the input states. So there's two controllers. This is something I might have to do on like a full stomach. There's a lot of logic here. what I basically have to do is I have to trick the controller chip into looking at the controllers and the keyboard, the virtual keyboard controllers, and I need to like merge them together somehow. But maybe there's something I can do on. I wonder if there's like a better way I could. Let me see how I set up the keyboard stuff. Because I wonder if I can just like make a generic maximum controllers. What are the controllers set up as? Controller inputs. Yeah, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. All right, we'll make this tomorrow's task. I'll go through and I gotta rework. Let me make sure I didn't break anything. I gotta like rework how the controller stuff, or I have to actually refresh my memory on how I abstracted out all the controller stuff, because what would make the most sense. All right, so it did find the controller. At least we got that. That's super awesome. What we need to do is make sure, and I wanted to fix something else in the. I'm just going to re-enable this, and I'll deal with optimization for the graphic stuff later. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll do a stream again, and I will I'll go through. I'll figure out what needs to be built out for the controller, and that's what we'll sort of focus on. But I think we're close. We have enough. We have enough in place. Like I consider today somewhat of a win. I don't know. I got build tasks done. I didn't fix the frames per second counter. I don't know what the hell's up with that. And I fixed, or I'm able to actually run a controller on my Mac. So I'll probably toy around with this tonight, and then tomorrow have a little bit more of a focused plan. But once I get that, if I come in here and let's do one last test. I'm really hungry. Let's go into the BIOS. And now the real test is Reaper Boy, and we build this. So I just changed the default BIOS file. It's going to now create a new zip, copy that zip over, run the game, and now this should load right into Reaper Boy. Look at that. All right, so we're getting closer to abstracting this. Wow, why is it running like shit? Oh, right, because it's outputting that there's a controller. I got scared for a second that I like really broke something. Where's update? Let's get rid of this. In fact, I'm just gonna get rid of all this. We'll leave that there as reference. I have lots of reference code everywhere. Yeah, enjoy lunch. Oh, you're out. Oh, telling me to enjoy lunch. Yeah, I would like to. I don't know what I'm even eat. I think I got some steak or something. Maybe I'll just eat some steak. All right, cool. Let's make sure the performance works. Yeah, everything runs fast again. All right, perfect. So, and that's it. So now I got the build scripts working. I can recompile the OS as a zip, and yeah, I think that's good. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate everyone showing up a little bit later. Maybe I'll just start my stream later tomorrow. I'll have an early lunch and then start my stream and then give that a try. So, see you guys.